I'm Dave Borden with Rent Screener. Welcome to the first video on Get Ready to Rent, behind the scenes with a real property manager. This video is going to focus on how you can get ready with your credit score so that when you go to apply for a property, you're ready to go. Now, before you do anything, before you ever even look at a property, before you ever apply for a property, we want you to go to a website called annualcreditreport.com where you can get an Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion report on your credit and know what the scores are and know what's in there. And here's why. If you know if there's some negative information in your credit report that maybe doesn't belong there, it gives you an opportunity to take it off your credit before you apply for a property. Also, if you know what that score is, you can ask the property manager and tell them that, hey, my score is X, and you can ask them where you're going to fall within their tenant screening policy and if you're going to qualify for the property before you even rent it. So again, we have George Trombley. He's a property manager here in Las Vegas, and he is the owner of Blackbird Realty and Management. Been doing property management for how long?
Since I was 16.
Okay,
so
perfect.
A long time. Yeah.
All right, George, what do you look for on a credit report?
Well, a lot of people think the credit report's all about the score. The score is just one of the factors that we consider. Okay. If you've got a score from 500 to 800, that's not going to be a factor that hurts you. We've approved people whose score has been lower than 500 because the other part of their credit was stellar. So they new on a job. We'd like to have some pay stubs that show that they make enough money to pay for the property. They can't have a criminal background. If there's a felon, it's an automatic, don't even bother to apply.
But obviously, the higher the score, the better, correct?
Higher the score, the better. But it's a weighted system with us.
Okay, what would you consider a good score? A good, just credit score?
You know, above 625 is probably a good credit score.
Okay, and is that going to qualify someone for the highest threshold in your screening policy? If no other factors are considered but credit?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. And can you tell us if there are some specific items that you might find in a credit report that might be more troublesome than others?
Yeah. We are very, very sensitive to judgments. Judgments and past evictions.
And what's a judgment?
A judgment's when someone has taken you to court over money that's owed.
And they've won.
And they've won, and that now it's sitting on your credit waiting for them to figure out where you live, where you work, so that they can collect the judgment.
Are there any entities whose judgments might be a little more concerning than others?
You know, when you're not
paying the IRS,
like when you're not paying the government, those guys are going to come and get their money.
Okay.
You know,
and how does that affect you, and why does that go into your decision?
Well, that affects us because the IRS will notify us to garnish that they're garnishing the account.
Right, and those people are ahead of you in line when it comes to payments. So that affects the tenant's ability to pay their rent if the IRS is levying their bank account.
And if there's money owed to be returned on a security deposit and we receive an IRS levy, we have to give that money to the IRS. There's not a, I don't want to do it. I'm an automatic bill collector for them.
Okay. Are there any other items like utilities or medical payments?
Unpaid utilities are going to be a problem because in our properties the tenant are responsible for the gas, the water, the power, and if you can't get that turned on, you really don't have a home that's habitable, so you really can't live there. So, and those pop up. Unpaid utility bills, a big deal.
Okay. All right, so the idea here is that you need to be informed before you talk to someone like George. Now, how do you feel if someone has negative information on their credit report, or they know they have a very low score? How would you like them to handle that? Would you like them to just be honest with you up front?
Yeah, it's better to know up front because you can give them advice before they apply. Once they apply, we've got to apply all of the criteria that we use for everybody to stay consistent with the fair housing. But they'll say, my credit is not so good, and we usually will ask them, what's the worst thing on your credit that you think is bad? A lot of them say, I've got some medical bills because I was sick. Medical bills aren't something that's really important to me. A lot of people don't have insurance and they don't know when their kid's going to break an arm and they need to go to the emergency room. So that's not a big factor. Like, there's no reason not to pay your power bill. There's no reason not to pay your water bill. But, you know, a medical bill that you weren't expecting, you know, so that's not a big factor. But
the point is, bad news doesn't get better with time.
Right.
And if there's something in your if there's something negative in your credit report, I can promise you that George is going to find it, because those bureaus are very good at reporting it. So be honest with that person, with whoever it is, before you even apply. Every single company is going to charge you between $20 and $150 per application, per property that you apply for. So if you are very honest with someone like George and say, I have a 600 credit score according to annualcreditreport.com, and I have a couple items, am I going to be able to rent from you or not? And his answer might be no, but at least he saved you $50 per person on an application fee. And he may tell you that, hey, yes, I'll be able to rent to you, but your security deposit is going to be significantly higher. But at least you know that before you go give him all your information and make him waste his time and effort and take $50 out of your pocket for him to tell you that you've been disqualified. So again, let's recap. You got to know where you stand beforehand. You can check your credit score at annualcreditreport.com. You can ask someone like George or another property management company or an apartment complex, what is your tenant screening policy? And see where you fall within that policy and if you'll be able to be qualified. Again, George Trombley with Blackbird Realty. I'm Dave Borden with Rent Screener. You can reach me at dave@kohva.com, KOHVA.com. And George, where can they reach you?
Broker at blackbirdrealty.com.
Thanks a lot and have a great day.